Lonzo Ball is the engine behind UCLA's historically productive offense, and in this video I take a closer look at his game on that side of the ball. If you're looking for a more Lakers-specific take on him, head over to LakerFilmRoom.com for the accompanying article. Enjoy. Ball's greatest strengths are in transition, where he's received rightful comparisons to NBA greats like Magic Johnson and Jason Kidd. He's particularly devastating with his outlet passes, which he can make nearly full court on a dime. The positive impact of these outlet passes are sometimes less obvious, despite the fact that this is a 1-on-4. Since the ball is advanced, every defender's head is turned, and this leads to mistakes. When Holiday drives, he draws a second defender, so Holiday just kicks it out to that guy's man. He then attacks the closeout, draws a second defender, and kicks it out to Ball. Ball then attacks that closeout, drawing two help defenders, and kicks it out. Then Holiday sidesteps the closeout, draws a second defender, and Ball is all by himself on the offensive boards. So again in real time, the outlet pass gets the ball behind the defense, preventing defenders from seeing both man and ball. Then it's a series of driving kicks, drawing a second defender until the open shot is created. This entire chain reaction is set in motion by that initial outlet pass. These outlet passes come with some risk though, and sometimes he'll turn it over by being too ambitious. But all in all, they're a net positive. If he doesn't have an outlet available, he'll usually keep it himself and try to drive and kick. The goal is to get as far up court as quickly as he can to suck the defense in. But this is another area where Ball can get a bit ahead of himself and turn the ball over. He's less effective when he has to keep it and go coast to coast, but he is capable of it. Occasionally he'll pull up for a three in transition with mixed results. Lastly, he's also very good at filling lanes and leaking out when other guys lead the fast break. All in all, he's one of the best transition prospects in years. Much has been made of Lonzo Ball's shooting stroke, but that's not going to matter much when he's open. His footwork is consistent, hopping into his catches and often jumping forward into his shot. He's also comfortable out to 30 feet and beyond, which creates extra open looks. But his shooting form starts to come into play when it's contested. He leans back a bit on his open jumpers, but that becomes much more severe when he's trying to create space. He also doesn't have the room to jump forward as he likes, and when he tries to do so, he ends up landing underneath defenders. Being that he uses his range to create space to get his shot off, I don't think he's going to be a particularly effective corner three shooter in the NBA. There simply isn't enough room to step back. He isn't particularly adept at attacking closeouts in half-court settings, oftentimes over-penetrating. He's much better at sidestepping those closeouts Steph Curry style and knocking down the three. He has some ability coming off of screens as well, but a lot of his success is going to depend on how much space he's able to create prior to the catch. The pick and roll is where I have my biggest concerns about Lonzo. It's not something that they do much at UCLA, and it's not something that he did much growing up. I'm concerned about him against soft hedges and corrals, where the guard fights over the top of the screen and the big hangs back in the paint. The ball handler's job is to keep the defender on his hip and possibly shoot that mid-range jumper. I've never seen Ball take that shot, and I'm concerned that his shooting mechanics will prevent him from doing so. This is an example of how it looks in an NBA setting. Of course, we know that a pull-up mid-range jumper isn't a very efficient shot, but sometimes that's all that's available. That matters in a league with a 24-second shot clock. Ball's workaround for not having to get into a shot form is a one-footed teardrop, which is a difficult shot. He also struggles a bit when bigs switch onto him off of the pick and roll. His preferred move here is his step back. One of the big differences in talent from college to the NBA is the mobility of bigs, so if he's having difficulty with this on the NCAA level, he's going to have problems in the NBA. Both switches and soft hedges are vulnerable to guards who can score on them, and I suspect the NBA is going to make Lonzo Ball prove that he can do that. When he does try to drive, he can have difficulty getting by the big. This is another area where it would help him to have a pull-up mid-range jumper. But he's not totally hopeless in this respect either. If he can get his defender to expose their top foot, as he does here, he can beat them. There are also times where he'll make the wrong read on the pick and roll, simply due to his inexperience in running it. Michigan blitzes him on this screen, and the right read is to his big on the short roll, but he makes the skip pass instead, so no one's open. I don't view this as a long-term concern with him because he just needs more reps in the pick and roll, but he's not going to be good at it right away. The isolation principles in attacking switches and the ISOs on guards are the same. If he can expose a top foot like this, he'll beat you that way. He's either going to drive going right or shoot a step back jumper going left. Mind you, he is capable of driving it to his left, but he's usually going to look to kick it out when he does. I'd imagine that NBA teams are going to play him tight against the jump shot and force him to drive left. UCLA's pace, style of play, and the prevalence of zone defense in college all lead to Lonzo Ball not having a ton of experience running organized half-court offense. That isn't a criticism of Ball, and I expect him to be very good at it in the long term, but to expect him to come in and be good at this from day one when he has such little experience doing it on lower levels is unrealistic. A lot of what UCLA does involves running shooters off of down screens, which is NBA action, but it's very surface level stuff. Ball does well to hit these shooters on time and in their shot pocket. They'll also run this play one down, which the Lakers will run when they want to post up D'Angelo Russell. Lonzo Ball is really good at making the post entry pass. We've discussed his ability to shoot off of screens, but I wanted to point out a couple of other things. He's a great back cutter. He recognizes that his defender is in the wrong stance, having the wrong foot up court. He immediately back cuts, attacking that top foot, and gets a spectacular assist. He's also a better athlete than he gets credit for. Lastly, Ball is a good offensive rebounder who creates extra shots with his motor and athleticism. I try to stay away from scouting intangibles because I don't know these guys as people, but Ball definitely strikes me as somebody who's willing to do whatever it takes to win. But it'll be curious to see if he can develop the pick and roll component of his game, because the NBA is going to make him prove that he can score on them. Alright folks, that's all the time we got for this one. If you'd like to read the article that goes along with this video, I included the link in the description. I'll catch you guys next time.